Landscaping would be that thing. There was plenty of money involved in the supermarket industry. The problem was it wasn't for me, it was all for the boss. And he was the guy, you see, he was the guy that had all the cool stuff. He was the guy that had the really cool car, and he didn't even like boating and fishing and stuff like that, whereas I loved it, and he had a really cool boat, and I had a small old boat, and this kind of thing. It didn't seem fair to me that I was doing, well, it appeared to me at the time I was doing all the work, and he was reaping all the benefits from it. So I decided I needed to go and do my own thing, be my own boss. Well, of course, when you're an employee, you don't realise what's involved in running a business. And once you start your own business, and especially if you've got no staff to help share the load, you become everything. So I went from being a specialist involved in one aspect of supermarketing to being everything for my business. See, I was a technician, like the guy digging the holes and planting the plants and doing all the stuff. I was the designer, I was the office person, I was the person that hired and fired if we had any staff, I was the person in charge of marketing, I was the person in charge of every single thing, paying the accounts, you name it. And it was absolutely exhausting. But I was living the dream, so to speak, of having my own business, so it was worth persevering with. So anyway, in 1999 I quit the supermarket, as I say, and we started our own landscape business, and we entered into the Ellerslie Flower Show in November of 2000 after being in business for a little under 12 months. And the reason I entered into that is I'd been in another show, another competition earlier, and both judges had competed in this competition, and both judges mentioned to me at the time, because I won that competition that had been in months earlier, a local competition, and they both said to me at the time, Steve, you really should look at doing something at the Ellerslie Flower Show, because what you've got here is really very good, and you've probably got a pretty good chance of doing okay. Well, my initial reaction, of course, was, well, no, I can't do that. But of course that was just my lack of confidence, and of course I could do that, and as you can see I did do that. We picked up a gold award for our effort, which was absolutely fantastic. Here's some other awards from other various landscape competitions and different things we went into. You'll see there the worst we ever did was a silver award, which is just here. We only ever got second place once. Every other time we entered into a competition we did get first place, which was absolutely fantastic. And here's a few jobs we did over the years, just a handful of jobs to show you that yes, Steve-O is a landscaper. So these are 2 or 3 jobs that we did over the years, and it was all very well getting the gold award at the Ellerslie Flower Show, but I was experiencing what I now describe as landscaper frustrations, and probably, if the truth's known, that they're typical frustrations across many industries, if not most industries, particularly if you own a small business. If you're a one-man band or have a handful of staff, or if you have a small retail outlet, that kind of thing. But of course we're here talking about landscaping and landscapers and stuff like that, so I'm relating this back to landscaping. You see, one of the biggest frustrations I had was people that wasted my time. It's people that would phone us up, get me out for a consultation, only for me to discover that they had no budget or insufficient budget, or they just wanted some free ideas, these kinds of things. So very, very frustrating, particularly when you're pricing plans, pricing to draw a plan, that is, or pricing up to actually construct the project for the client. You can spend hours, particularly when you're pricing the project up, and then not get the job, or even worse, one of your competitors gets the job. You drive past 6 weeks later and you see one of your competitors in there putting the landscape job together, and you wonder where you went wrong. And you see the other landscaper putting it together, it's nowhere near as good a job as what you would have done or would like to have done, and then you realise that the client couldn't afford what they wanted in the first place, and somebody else has gone in there and offered them a better price. Perhaps they take a few bits and pieces out of the landscape in terms of what the client wants. And this is the kind of thing that happens, and it's incredibly frustrating when you drive past and you see somebody else doing the job. Or my all-time favourite, when the client says to you, we'll have a bit of a think about it. Here's the thing, if the client's saying, we'll have a bit of a think about it, or anything like that, okay, here's the hot tip of the day, they're not going to come back to you. Okay, it's a polite way of them letting you down, because either you haven't clicked with the client, or what you're talking about is just going to be far too expensive for the client, or whatever it may be. And this is what you'll normally encounter after you've spent hours pricing the project. You've perhaps drawn a plan for the client, then you've spent hours pricing the project for the client to say, oh, well, we'll have a bit of a think about it.